the propagandized subversion of and perversion of certain societal beliefs that have created certain things that have happened in society that have made us to where men are not the same type of men that they used to be, and women are not the same type of women they used to be. And you can see that with the destruction of the households, the destruction of the nuclear. I remember I was watching something. If I find this clip, somebody had pointed out something. Again, because we're talking about the money and things. They were explaining about, and I got to see if I can find this on TikTok somewhere. Jesus, if I can. The guy said that as the economy changes, so the family goes. So in the farming societies, when it benefited to have a bunch of children, to have a bunch of
Right.
connected families, it
12 kids.
made sense. It was pro big families. As we got into the factory industrial complex,
The
then
nuclear
it became
family.
more nuclear family. Well, things became more digital, and once things became more computerized, that it became more single.
The single parent families.
So as we got to a place to where women were able to do because again, we got out of a very physical society. Not that physicality doesn't matter, because you still have your plumbers, you still have, you know what I'm saying, your carpenters, you still have your hard duty workers. But as society has gotten more into finance, banking, more into different areas to where women can compete on an equal playing field because of the lack of necessity of physical ability, then now it's like, okay, well, I can earn my own money, I can get my own bag, I don't need you. What do you think about that thought process? Like, do you think there's legitimacy to that thought process?
Possibly. I mean, that's a lot to unpack, but it possibly could. I don't know. That's another thought.
You know, think about this though. Think about this though. If you look at our parents and how many siblings they had in the society that they grew up in, and you look at their parents and the society that they grew up in, and how many siblings they had, you can almost see.
I'm actually picturing. I'm starting to picture it. Yes.
It's like we can look through our.
It makes. You know what? Now, I mean,
we can look through our own family tree, and whether we can prove or disprove, there sounds to be some legitimacy.
I'm looking at all the children that my great grandparents had, and now I'm looking at all the children that my grandparents had, and now I'm starting to look at how many children my parents had, and now I'm looking at society as a whole today.
That you have the lowest birth rates ever in recorded history.
The lowest marriages ever. Yes. So yeah, I mean, yes. Well, once I'm actually like really digging deep and thinking about it for real now, yeah, that makes absolute sense.
That there could be some legitimacy to where, as the economy changed, the use of marriage and the use of family has changed along with it.
It's almost like, I mean, 2025, right? We ruffling feathers. Marriage sounds almost antiquated. It's outdated technology.
I mean, it doesn't almost. It's completely based on the enforcement of what is required. It is a lopsided agreement that it could not possibly sustain if you actually looked at it on paper based on what is enforceable. No, it's absolutely an antiquated technology, and it's like, because of people who harp on a traditional situation, it's very difficult to talk about a traditional situation because you don't live in a traditional society anymore. Not just inflation, not just the fact that one check can't take care of an entire household, but more so along the lines of when you place money as the head of your household instead of God as the head of your household, the structure operates differently. things happen differently to where now you have society to where because you have the option to do it. It's like I've heard people say, "Oh, well, my grandmother couldn't get a credit card until like in her own name it's like the 1990s, and she couldn't do X, Y, Z until like the 1970s." And I do understand these things,
But
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 the
but see, here's a part of that. Not to cut you off, but see, but here's a big piece of that they always leave out was that technically, yes, they did still have credit because they were able to go to the grocery store and just say, "Hey, put it on my husband," what I'm saying, name, or put it on his card, and she was able to walk out of there with the groceries. The man still had to pay for everything. So his credit card was her card. Go to the furniture store. Put it on my husband John. Okay, no problem. And she could walk out with a couch. So I mean that's how it was. They
you
just
know, and
fought to get their own now. That but
well,
it still
the
was.
and the most antiquated aspect of that is that society just does not operate off those principles anymore. So for you to walk into a situation to where you're trying to cultivate a life, you're not cultivating a life based off the way that life worked for your grandparents or the way that life worked for your parents. It's just unrealistic to think that that's how it's going to work. And the thing about it is that the more, well, I guess if you were more in like the Midwest or the South and like rural America, it probably operates more closer to, because you don't have all the technological advances, you don't have all the career opportunities, and let's face it, like life is simpler there. But then once you get into the major cities and you get into other areas where things are a lot faster, things operate a lot differently, opportunities are a lot differently. Um, what a woman can do is a lot different than what she would normally be able to do inside like a town to where there was a prison was the major economy and or a factory was the major economy. Life is different. So like when I have conversations with people, I like to talk to them about the difference between the America, the big city America, and real America.
Mhm.
Real America,
You
farmland, heartland.
had that
Yeah.
right. When I
And
made that
so
North Carolina, this was just recent, and we were talking about this.